Hello, good evening. I'm Somalia, ambassador in India FinTech Forum. And here we have with us Reeju Datta, the esteemed alumni of IIT Kharagpur and founder of Cashfree. He has an immense experience in payments interface. And he founded Cashfree in 2015 as a payments. Cashfree Payments was launched in 2015 as a gateway, and while operating the payment gateway, the founders like Reeju and Akash found it difficult to use online bank portals for disbursing payments every day. So around in mid 2016, Cashfree Payments decided to work on building a dedicated bulk payout solution for business operations in India. So it has various products like payouts, payment gateways, marketplace settlements, auto collects, etc. I'd like to ask, like, how does the payment gateway companies, play an important role in the process of a customer's journey, in customer's purchasing journey?
Yeah, so I think it enables customers to make online payments, but I think more than customers, a payment gateway is a product that helps a business more, right? So if you are trying to sell online or launching a store online, I think any business typically needs to offer like a lot of payment modes. Like in India, there are close to 100 payment modes. I mean, there is cards like Visa, Master, Rupee. There is multiple wallets. There is UPI, of course. And then there are so many net banking, internet banking options, right? And many customers have their own preferred way of paying. So when a merchant starts selling online, they need to accept all of these payment methods. Now, one way, if there were no payment gateways, and any online merchant would have to go out and individually integrate all of these 100 payment methods, right? And when they want to integrate, there's a technical integration involved. There is the operations involved of processing the refunds, managing the settlements into your own bank account, right? And then handling customer disputes for each payment method. So, which is where a payment gateway comes in. That makes it really easy, right? So instead of handling all these 100 payment modes, an online business has to just manage a single payment gateway, which in turn manages all these payment methods for a particular merchant. Right from the integration, the settlements, refunds processing, dispute management, other customer query handling, and so on, right? And then that's where the value proposition of a payment gateway comes in, right? Just makes it easier for an online business to accept payments from customers through multiple payment methods. That's the core.
So basically, it's a payment interface between the online banking and the customer. So yeah. I'd like to ask is, do you see any further improvements in the API of payment gateways, and whether number of steps can be further reduced, like from what they are right now?
Yeah, I think, there is, I think, for instance, UPI has greatly changed things in terms of being a very mobile friendly flow, which has a lesser number of steps. I would not say lesser number, but definitely fast in terms of payment processing. Right, there are certain integrations of UPI, like an intent flow, which tends to be faster and smoother than older methods. There are safeguards option, right, and we're going to see some changes in that with RBI guidelines on tokenization. So safeguard is a good way to have a process faster checkouts, right? Then we are in the offline space, right? We are seeing contactless transactions where you can just tap and pay, tap your card at a terminal and pay, instead of the current process of inserting your card, entering your PIN, right? So you'll have contactless payments up to a certain limit. I think it's 5,000 right now. So those are some of the places where I think we're seeing faster payments, right? And then the regulator has been kind of involved in making payments smoother, faster, and more secure for the end consumer.
Right. So you touched upon the UPI topic. So I would like to know, what are the major changes that UPI has brought in recent times, and how has it improved the payment landscape? Can you expand on that, please?
Yeah. So I think I'm just maybe just before I get into the impact, maybe just a few data points, right? And we've seen UPI transactions grow, right, and really grow, and and from like 0 to a very significant percentage of the transactions we process, right, in a very short span of time over the last 3 or 4 years. Close to around 40 to 45% of the transactions are happening through UPI today, and so that has been the major impact, right, and somewhat has taken the market share of what a debit card or internet banking earlier used to hold. In terms of impact, I think it's introduced a lot of people to digital payments. I mean, when we started back in 2015, some owners of small businesses used to ask us, why do I need to accept online payments, right? Or if I like, they were not okay with maybe paying an additional fee for transactions, online transactions, right? So I think it has introduced a lot of people in smaller cities, in fact, also to online transactions. They've started shopping online. They've developed trust in paying online, buying purchases online, which has increased the amount of business that is actually happening, right? It's increased the market size, amount of commerce that is happening, right? People are buying more, I would say, right? So that has been one impact, right? And second, businesses have become more comfortable as well, right? It's become a more formal way of accepting payments, and it's replaced cash also to a larger extent. So yeah, that is some of the that impact we're seeing, and yeah.
Yeah. So given that UPI has almost zero transaction charges, so how does it impact the profitability, and like what are the other products that payment gateways are innovating to compete with UPI and stay ahead in the game?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's not about competing with UPI. It's about distributing UPI. So payment gateways or fintech players tend to be distributors of financial services, right? Like they take all these payment methods to let's say an online business, and package it in a easy to use, like simple integration, fast onboarding kind of a package. Right. So UPI tends to be one of the payment modes that a payment gateway offers, right? And so I think the value proposition of a payment gateway, as I said, right, lies in the ease of integration, like the analytics that a gateway would provide, the support in terms of the operations that lies, right? So especially in the technical integration, right, because there are so many interfaces. You would have a desktop, you have mobiles with different operating systems, you have various specific plugins for various use cases, like let's say Shopify, Magento, and so on. So those kind of integrations is where like a payment gateway can charge their fees, right, apart from the usual transaction processing charges that are there. So yeah, so I mean, and since it's a software businesses, and helping businesses coming online, especially with the pandemic, so there is enough demand, I would say, right, enough need for a payment gateway as such.
Right. So UPI has almost disrupted the payment service landscape. So do you see the usage of debit cards and payments declining with the introduction of UPI?
Yeah, I would say so, right? I think what has not declined is credit cards. Credit cards have still been very constant, and I think so once credit comes on UPI, that would be very interesting. But yeah, in general, we've seen UPI eating into the share of debit cards and net banking. Yes, that's true.
Right. So let us touch up on the MSMEs. So one of the major concerns for MSMEs are the cash flows. So payment gateways play a role to provide assistance to these small scale businesses. Like how do they assist them to meet their cash flow needs?
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, I mean, a great example of that is like I'll share an example of what we do, right? Like, so we offer a feature facility called instant settlements, right? So typically, a payment gateway is used to settle money in took around 2 working days to settle funds usually, right? When we started back in 2015, right? And that would probably mean, like, let's say if you did a transaction on Friday, right? Like 2 working days would often mean getting the money on a Tuesday, right? Like because Saturday, Sunday is a bank holiday. So obviously there were cash flow issues, right? So what instant settlement does is, you get your money in 15 minutes, even on a bank holiday, right? So like you do a transaction on Sunday and you get the money on Sunday, right, after 15 minutes, right? So that's one of the ways, right? And we've seen great adoption, right? Like I think around 40% of all our payment gateway users opt for instant settlements, right? And we have a feature on that called on-demand instant settlements. So maybe you don't need instant settlements for all of your transactions, but okay, maybe someday you have a cash flow problem, right? So only on that day you opt to exercise that option. Like it's like a toggle that turn on and off. So yeah, I mean, so that is one of the ways, right? And apart from that, I mean, it's an evolving challenge. Like how do we package credit, right, through partnerships, right, to various users to serve their credit need, right? So we have advances that we are experimenting with a merchant base, right, wherein they can opt for additional term loans, right, which get adjusted from the payment gateway collections, right? And for the lender, the benefit is the additional security that comes with the fact that they're using they have an access to the online cash flows of this business, right, which makes it easier for a lender to lend, right, and which is why they would be interested to work with us and lend to the merchant base that we are able to tap into.
Right. So, like that's great. Like, is there any scope for integration between payment gateways and blockchain since it's an emerging technology? So, how do you look forward into this area?
So as of now, I think there is a bit of regulatory uncertainty on that space, right? So that's a bit, I would say it's a bit early to comment on that, right? Like before, things become clearer from a regulatory angle. But yeah, I mean, in future, I mean, I think we've seen the digital rupee initiative, right? The CBDC, central bank digital currency, which was announced by the RBI. So that is one of the more encouraging signs in this space, I would see, right? Like, let's see how it gets rolled out. That could be one of the ways, where payment companies or payment gateways such as us collaborate, with the blockchain-based solutions, right? Like could be an on-ramp, to load, money into convert digital into fiat into digital currency, right, and so on. So let's see how that turns out.
Yeah. So, like, as you answered in the previous question, it is difficult to lend MSMEs at competitive interest rates since risk involved is very high. But as you said, the payment gateways have their cash flows and the data that they have. So, are there like any more new upcoming technologies or products that one should look out for in microfinancing to help fuel the MSMEs growth, which largely has remained on the sidelines from traditional banks?
Yeah. So I think for MSMEs, I mean, credit is one, I would say. Access to international markets is another that payment gateways can help, right? Like, let's say you have an MSME that wants to export their goods and services, right? So their payment gateways can, serve as a platform by enabling acceptance of, let's say, allowing a small business in India to accept payments in, like a foreign payment method like an ACH, right, or a local payment method of Europe or the UK, right? And that just really expands the market reach of an SME who is wanting to export and take their goods globally and sell globally, right? So yeah, that's another great way, right? Like to really boost the growth of SMEs, right? Especially the ones that are exporting.
So that was great interacting with you, and this was an insightful session. So, do you have any words for the today's youth foraying into the payments gateways and in blockchain technologies?
Yeah, I would say like it's a very good time to be foraying, right? Like I think there is a very supportive ecosystem of both, companies that are doing a lot of innovative work, people who are kind of experimenting with a lot of new ideas, a lot of things are happening. We have a very supportive ecosystem that the regulator is setting up, that the policymakers are setting up, right? There is a lot of impetus, I would say, right, at this. It's a very good time to be getting into this. And I think the fintech ecosystem of India definitely is as advanced as anything we have seen in the world. So the work that the ecosystem is doing is pretty top notch, and in terms of the complexity that is there, right? So yeah, I mean, like it's a pretty high standard, and if you're doing well there, it's a good benchmark to aspire to. Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much. Thank you for giving us your valuable time. It was an insightful session and it was great interacting with you. Thank you so much.